Hey everyone, Chef Eduardo Garcia. Thanks for tuning in. We are going to do a tailgate table elevated ramen. The elevated ramen for me is really no different than the ramen you're used to knocking out in your college dorm room at home when you just need a quick snack or on the road, except for I'm gonna add some wild ingredients. So what you end up getting is you still get the same ramen, slurpy noodles, nice and warm, coating the belly, making us feel full, but the fry up of the ginger and the green onion first is gonna add like sort of flavor bomb for every bite that you have, as well as the game stock and the oyster mushrooms bring it up a notch too. So let's do this, elevated top ramen. So we all know what this is, instant ramen, 3-minute meal. We're gonna crank it up a notch by adding dehydrated oyster mushrooms, so we'll make a broth out of those. But the broth, we're gonna crank up a notch too. You can just use water if you want, nothing wrong with that. I brought a brick of frozen game stock. This, when not frozen, is gelatinous. You could cut it with a knife and it's gonna stand still, so it's super reduced. So what I'm gonna do, I'll give it a crack right here. When it's frozen, you can just crack it and take a chunk out. So we'll take a chunk out of this, and that's gonna go into our boiling water. So we'll do 50-50 because this is a concentrated stock. So we'll do stock, water, bring it to a boil, pour that on top of our dried mushrooms to let those hydrate, and then we'll have a game mushroom broth for our ramen. So that's going in. We've got our frozen game stock, our water, it's coming up to a boil. While that does its thing, we're gonna take our dried oyster mushrooms and we're gonna break these up depending on how big of a mushroom bite you want. That's gonna really just dictate the size you crunch these up into. While that comes up to a boil, some green onions chopped up, great contributing flavor to any soup dish for sure. And especially when you take green onion plus ginger, finely mince it and fry it. I do like to take my time on the ginger and just get it into some nice small chunks. Stock and water up to a boil. Got our mason jar with our dehydrated mushrooms. I'm gonna pour this in now and just let it steep. There we go. Burner off. Just put a finger tight lid on that. And just let that hang now. While that does its thing, probably want to get about 10 minutes, let's say. You know, we really want those mushrooms to open up all the way. You can chop your green onion right now. You could enjoy the scenery. You could glass that herd on the hillside, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing. Take 10 minutes of pause just to hang out. I'm gonna do a little maintenance on my bow. Just keep my kit fresh. I think it's ready to go. Full quart of broth. Ginger, green onion, chopped up. Broth is ready. Ramen is on standby. So now we gotta fry our scallion ginger oil. When I think of ramen, I think of ramen that has a nice sort of head on top of it of some fat content. While traditionally, we're knocking this out on our tailgate with just water, we're gonna go with a little bit of lard. Get our jet boil up and cranking, hot. Give like a good, healthy spoonful. There we go. So making this oil is not gonna take more than about 10 seconds. So it's really hot oil. Ginger, green onion goes in. 10 seconds later, that's all it's gonna take. Immediately, get your broth in there. We don't want this to burn. This is mushrooms and all. It smells terrific. You can really smell the fried ginger and onion. We're gonna take our ramen. I'm just gonna throw this in a couple pieces. There's one. Seasoning packet. Came with the thing, you paid for it, might as well use it. Let this do its thing. Here's where the bonus points come in on this recipe, everybody. While this is cooking away, I've got a bowl ready to sit down and have a nice warm soup. I brought hot spring eggs onsen tamago. So these are eggs cooked in a simmering bath for about 12 to 13 minutes. In theory, they're gonna travel better than your soft or raw eggs because they're already cooked, but they're about soft cooked or soft poached. So there we go. That'll tell you it's done. Ooh, smells good too. It smells like ramen, but also it just has a little bit more of a punchy aroma because of the bone broth, because of the dried mushrooms. Also that green onion, ginger oil, we like that a lot. Hot spring egg going in. There we go. And of course, I like to add a little heat. I'm gonna add a little Montana Mex jalapeno seasoning. Give myself a nice spicy chest warming ramen. That looks yummy. This looks good. And our nice hot spring egg. They say that when you're eating a pho or a hot ramen, the louder you slurp, the more aerated this flavor package is gonna be when it hits your palate. So slurp loudly. It also helps cool it off a little when it's going in. I hope you enjoyed doing this elevated tailgate ramen. Bonus points for anyone who cooks their egg in an actual hot spring. Send me a photo, I wanna see it.